Hello and welcome back to our penultimate Design League playthrough, and this one is from Why Am I Even Doing This, which bodes well. And we've got, again, some water brought in really nicely with an inlet this time. It looks like we've got holes going down both ways, which is interesting. And yeah, I mean, does this fit there? I think there must be some other holes on here because that would be too wide. If not, so I'm assuming we're playing mostly in this sort of area. We'll give this a look. I mean, routing wise it's slightly confusing me, but I think there's extra holes in here that presumably aren't in play or are just placeholders like this par 3. But we'll see. Right, off the first, it's a nice clean and open look. I do like your bunker style of going. I mean, if you're going for flat bottoms, you haven't got those yet, and those are a real pain to sort. As with a lot of other courses in this contest, I think you could benefit from blocking out some of this empty space a little. Background planting is an absolute pain, but you notice it's one of those things you don't notice when it's done, but you really notice when it isn't. Because you've got all of these bushes just here, we just need to extend them a little bit further. Alright, fairway wise, yeah, I think we could provide a little bit more fairway around through here. But strategy makes sense, like the further right you go, the more trouble you're risking with potentially going down to this fairway, which I don't think would be the end of the world. But and we do have a bit of a layup zone if you want to hit 3-wood. It feels maybe a little bit perfect for like hit 3-wood over here, and partly again, I think if you draw your fairway a little bit more diagonally, then it stops feeling like, well, you can hit 3-wood and run to there, or you can hit driver and go to there. And there's a bit more of a blend of options. As is, I think we'll be hitting driver anyway. The slow is going to make this interesting, but alright, pretty severe upslope. Yeah, I think we could lose this mound. I don't think it's really helping you. It's not really adding to any strategy, it's really kind of just serving to make things blind, which pretty much the opposite of what you want. What am I even doing? There we go. Yeah, we'll see what a pitch shot gives us. It's not a good pitch shot, so probably not that much. Yeah, the openness, I appreciate that we've tried to do some grasses here. Problem is, if you do them just here and don't really follow through up here, then it really kind of makes that emptiness look a little bit more so. You've kind of, once you start doing this stuff, I'm not saying commit to doing grass everywhere, that's a killer, but I think still block out your planting a little bit more. Green's at 163, which is bang on fast. Yeah, that's a fairly dreadful putt. Haven't really commented on the green. I think you can dial up the slopes a little bit. I like what you've got. Just think you might see a little bit better if you have some more orange and kind of a little bit more red. It just divides the green rather than feeling, and it gives it a bit more character, I guess. Alright, we have light rough going up to the bunker, which I'm ambivalent about. This green's better, we've got a bit more of a fall off. I would probably soften this slope because it feels like anything's, or change your pin position, because anything slightly past the pin, potentially going off the green, it's a little forced. We can go for it, but we're gonna have to, be precise with how we land, which I like. Although I don't think landing long of this is not necessarily the end of the world, but landing too far long would be dicey. This is good. It's a nice hole. I like that the little strip bunkers you are going for. I think they're a good look. I've got the partial I wanted. I'm okay with that. I do feel that you could soften this slope a bit and probably get a more playable green. Like, imagine if you had the red slope dropping down there and a flatter tier that begs you to flirt with the runoff, rather than you don't really. People tend not. It comes with experience, but people tend not to like it when they bounce really close to a pin that's kind of middle of the green and run off. it feels the word you would see would tend to be tricked up. Yeah, things like this. Just yeah. I mean, coming at it from below the hole, it's fine. I can see people getting a bit frustrated by that pin. Alright, cart path. We haven't. I might be wrong, but I don't recall seeing one on the previous holes. I know we did. I just hadn't spotted it. Why I liked it on the previous hole is because it was out of sight. Cart paths you generally do not want dead in front of a tee box. And if you think about how they work in real life golf courses you played, you're barely ever teeing off over the cart path. They're normally to the side of one of the tee boxes. Your tee isn't perfectly flat, and you can see up here we've definitely not got a flat tee. Is this coming off that previous green complex? It must be. Yeah, okay, so ignore that. I think I would have liked it if, as a fairway feeling dead flat, would have liked it if you brought the slope down here a bit more gradually so that this fairway just goes from high down to the water. I mean, it kind of does, but the split level fairway is a bit too stark. That's the drive I was worried about. I think it's okay. Yeah, the pin's technically fine. I think it's a little dicey with how close it is to the edge of the green. You don't need it that close, but it's fine. Let's just hack something somewhere down there. Yeah, kind of as with the first, I think you can dial up your green contours, particularly with a very reachable par 5. Because when you're making it a very reachable par 5, either people are kind of on in under regulation, in which case you want to really dial up the contours and make them hit a perfect shot to, not a perfect shot, but like make that threshold for difficulty much higher, or they're splashing or hitting wedge on, in which case they should be really accurate. This hole is, and this is the one I use for the screenshot, this hole's by far the best looking that we've seen so far. I love that you've blocked out this side. Would like probably this underbrush to go and like be, rather than starting here, probably starting here, gives a little bit more of a view of the green, not much but a little, and have a little bit just down here, and then it would be perfect. It's so well set up, the creek coming in here, the hole down there. Like, take what you've done on this hole and bottle it. And it's I don't think it's it's no coincidence that the hole you've clearly spent the most time on planting and like making look great looks by far the best. Like, it's worth knowing that effort does bring a reward. Staircase is a little bit funky. You can do that. Like, I think with something like this, doing it with single stairs will generally work better than using the big long flights of stairs because they get a bit awkward. But from back here, it looks really good, which is all we really care about. The square green, slightly at odds to the ones we played before, I think, but I don't mind it. Again, though, I'd love just all of this planted a little bit more. Ooh, totally did not have the right club in that wind. And the green slopes are good. This is like, this sort of ratio of orange to red to yellow to green is where the last couple should have been. Last couple, last one. But yeah, loving this overgrown kind of wall here. This is great. So 5, I presume we play out. Yeah, this is the hole we'd just seen. Ooh, this is sneaky. I really like the angle you've given us off the tee where we're hitting dead at the water, because this sort of thing is really effective as a way of doing a hazard, just by where you've cut the fairway in relation to the water. I would have loved the tee shot to go even further up and tempt me to hit driver. Like, you want people hitting driver down here, and take, like, the more you take driver, particularly those of us who hit like fasts more than slows. Like you want people really taking on that challenge. I also like that you put some trees in. Again, planting if it was at the same level as the other hole. That's the last time I made that comment, promise. But that would help. But I do like that you put trees this side so that it does make me think, well, actually, if I'm bailing out too far this way, I've got something else to contend with, which I'm a big fan of. I'm still going to bail a hell of a long way away from the water, but that's a really good tee shot. Bunkering here feels like a big departure from what you've done before. Like it's kind of strip bunkers, but I confess I don't really understand why they're placed where they're placed. I don't think they're. I mean, I'll probably hit into one of them, but none of them feel particularly in play. And they're not doing a massive amount for me visually either. I am not good with this wind. Yeah, good views out over the bay again. Like, that's been a really solid backdrop. Okay, and final hole. A little bit of a hog's back. The thing with this one, we've not strictly gone template holes, but we've gone a bit of influence by it, so I guess you can kind of get away with it. It feels like the fairway undulation is just like, I've said this on another playthrough, of just like, this is the hole with fairway undulations, and the rest of them have kind of been pretty much flat, so it jars just a little. You want it to feel cohesive, I guess, and so that when we're getting to that point, it's not leaping out. I commented on your bunker placement last hole. This one much better. I love the steepness of this one. Probably a bit too deep, but yeah, bunker placement's great here. I might need to go. And a little bit of, I almost want to say this is Edenish, which is a really cool. I love putting greens like this on a par four where people don't necessarily expect it. But I think this works really well. Like, you definitely want to stay below the hole. I think it would work better if it had a longer approach in, because then you're really worrying about distance control more than maybe with a wedge. Look, lots of ideas there I really enjoyed. I thought your big picture stuff of where you're getting the holes to play, how you're routing them, how you use the river, like on the left hitting dead at it as a backdrop, hitting with it behind the green on two. I thought that was really nice and varied. Main thing is, as you know, planting. Like, just let's make it more like hole four. Hole four was great. And yeah, some of the greens I think you lamp up a little bit, but really enjoyed it, and best of luck.